Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another edition of Between the Headlines on Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jar, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. For been a while now, we have not had the political bulldogs, so I'm excited to co-host this with Mr. Ansony Sieh and also Jimmy Eastburn. Gentlemen, welcome to this edition of Between the Headlines. Mr. Sieh, welcome, sir.
Dennis, thank you. It's good to be here. You are aware I'm under the weather, but when duty calls, we have to show up. This is something we have chosen to be part of as a contribution to the Liberian community. Between the Headlines, I love that. What's happening between the headlines today is what we are here to talk about, folks. In cyberspace, if you are just joining us, we want to say a pleasant welcome to this late evening edition of the program Between the Headlines. The man, Jimmy Eastman, is joining us from Nation Capital, is comfortably seated. Dennis, I think I'm all set. Let's get this rolling.
Jimmy is all set. Jimmy, welcome to the show.
Yes. It's a honor to be here discussing with you, gentlemen. Um, listening to somebody today, they're saying that our people
Mhm,
are not an informed electorate,
mhm,
and but the words of Thomas Jefferson was that an informed electorate is a prerequisite to democracy. So
mhm.
what we're going to do, we're going to try our best to inform our people so they can make the right decisions based on information, not just on guess.
Thank you. We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe to this edition of Between the Headlines. Between the Headlines, we're going to be looking at the likelihood of a one-round victory in the 2023 presidential elections. Mr. Sieh and Jimmy, as you may recall, there's a lot of chatter about one round, somebody winning the election in the first round. This is not going to go to the second round. Four political parties have claimed that. So, what is this one round victory? Is it possible? Is it probable?
Mm.
What and all of this? We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. We want to be discussing the likelihood of a one round victory. Is it something that can happen? Is it unlikely? Is it likely? Is it possible? Is it probable? We're going to go into all that. And we're going to also look at what really does it mean when you say one round victory. One round victory means a lot of things to a lot of people. And we're going to go into all that tonight. We also want you to be a part of this special edition of Between the Headlines as we discuss this whole concept of a one round victory. We have a history of our election, most recent election, going into a second round or a runoff. Well, this year, four presidential candidates all said they will win this in the very first round. So let's get started. If you have not already done so, invite a friend, share the show. We are not afraid to say, or we are not embarrassed to say, Facebook for the past 7 months have restricted our notifications. So most of our viewers are not getting our notifications. So if you are watching, please share the show with someone to benefit from what we do here at Focus on Liberia. Oh, so let me walk you through what we want to talk about today. Number one, what is considered a one-round victory, and is that possible in the 2023 election? What is it? Is it possible? And what is this one-round victory? And there are a lot of people that are saying one round means trouble. Some say there will be cheating if there's one round, or it's only cheating that's going to give anyone one round. Some say one round will result to violence because we have not had one round in a long time. Or is it one round? Does it mean that the person who's winning one round is the most popular? We're going to look into that. We're also going to see what does each candidate see for claiming this one round victory. What is it? What are they looking at? What are those variables that will make each candidate to pull off a one round victory or to win in the first round as each is claiming? Councillor Tiawon Gonglo is on record for talking about one round victory. President Weah and his team, one round victory. Uh, the former Vice President Joseph Newman Boakai is also claiming he's going to win this in the first round. And Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings claiming the same thing. So, what are those variables that will make each candidate pull the one round that they are claiming? Which candidate is less likely, more likely, or unlikely to pull this first round victory? We will look at that. So, first, let me bring on. So, this in this edition, we're going to discuss this as people who post on focus on Liberia. So, let me start with Mr. Sieh. Let's first define our term so that people joining us will know that what we're talking about.
Okay.
What is considered a one round victory? And is that possible?
Thank you, Dennis. One round victory is a win in the first round of the election, which means that when people shall have cast their ballot and the ballots are counted, there will be an automatic winner in the presidential election. In other words, the election will not go to second round or will not go to runoff. Somebody will win the election by obtaining the 50% plus one required by law to be elected president of the Republic of Liberia. That is one round. That is the definition of a one round victory. Now, if I may, you also included that others are saying that is unlikely because we have not had that in the past 3 presidential elections. And so anybody calling for that now is only opting for violence. That person might be telling us that they're going to cheat because that's the only way it's possible. And when that happens, because others don't believe that we can get a one round, given that we have always had multiple candidates. This election is, I think, almost close to how many candidates, Dennis? Do you remember the number?
20.
Okay, about 20. I have to check to see the exact number. But since 2005, we have always had about 20 to 22 candidates in every elections we had. This is not too far from it. So that had made it impossible or difficult for somebody to have obtained that 50% plus 1 vote to win. So others are thinking now that these people are saying something that has been unlikely, it can only be possible through cheating, and that will result to violence, and I don't think it's possible. And now you ask the final question there, is it possible? Anything is possible, Dennis. What makes you think it's not possible? It's possible. It depends on how the variables will play out, and that is why we will be discussing today.
Jimmy?
Okay, I'm in a slight disagreement with my brother Sieh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because if we consider statistics, today data analysis is used in sports, used in almost every sphere of our lives to predict a likely outcome. We have powerful data analytical machinery today. A long time ago, we used to use regression analysis to determine, but today they have powerful machines. So if we look at the statistics of, just like Mr. Sieh just said, it's not happened before. Okay, so according to our analysis, why would it happen now if it has not happened before? And secondly, if we're going to take a microscopic look at what is going to be required to win the election, we're going to analyze those highly populous areas. And those areas that are highly populous, we're going to analyze what is the likely outcome in those areas, like Nimba, like Bassa, like Lofa.
So, Jimmy, what are you disagreeing with?
I don't think it's not possible. It's not likely.
No, no, he said possible. You didn't say likely. He said it's
Yeah,
possible.
he says it's not possible, and I'm saying it's not likely.
No,
It
no,
won't
we'll come
happen.
to likely. He's talking about, he said it is possible. And you said you disagree with that.
Well, everything's possible. I
Exactly.
mean,
So you agree with him. It's even
but it's
possible
not a
that,
likely outcome. You know, in analysis, we look at likely outcome. There's always outliers, but if you're going to predict, you have to look at the analysis and to tell what the likely outcome is going to be, not the possible outcome.
yeah. So let us agree now tonight that we say anything is possible. So because there has been a consistent question, they are not talking about likelihood, not probability, they say possibility. Someone mentioned on this network that it is mathematically impossible for a first round victory. So we all agree that it's possible. Anything is possible. They can even come from, it's even possible, even though I didn't register, that I'll be the president January. Everything is possible. So if
Everything is
you're out
possible.
there and saying it is impossible, we want to tell you that yes, it is possible. Everything is possible. It's even
Yeah.
possible that everybody in the election, time for election, nobody goes to the pool. Everything is possible. But we'll come to the likelihood. But let's us first discuss what does it mean. And this is important because of the things that have come out. So let me put a quote on it. President Weah was in the front page Africa newspaper and was saying Liberians will not be intimidated by drums of war. He was saying this at a Kukatono conference when they celebrated 20 years of peace. And he was reacting to a statement that was attributed to Senator Comley B. Wisse. I didn't see that statement. I didn't read it myself. I didn't hear from him. But what was reported in the paper said, Senator Wisse said, the election we are having, the election that we are going into is not about one round. It is an election about who will win. So if you are too anxious for one round, you will cause violence. So for some people, one round victory means people, as Mr. Sieh explained earlier, people are going to not like it and say, well, this has never happened before. So if you can pull a one round victory, especially if you are the incumbent, it means that you are cheating. It's something you're looking at, you want to cheat. That's why. So they're equating one round prediction to violence, to cheating, to all that. So my first question, and I want our viewers also to weigh in with their comments, what does one round mean to you? Violence, cheating, popularity, or what, Jimmy?
Wow, one round victory will mean that there is a mandate is going to be given to that candidate. In other words, the Liberian people have decided that this candidate must carry out their agenda. And so a one round visit would mean a clear mandate from the people to this candidate. That's what it looks like to me.
Do you agree with Senator Wisse that this may mean violence, or it may, especially, or if the president or the incumbent wins or one round is maybe cheating?
It sounds like saber rattling a little bit because they said, how can you say one round? I mean, you want to do something. So he's pushing back on it. But I think a lot of this is just political posturing by the various groups to make his supporters feel that they are ahead, that they are going to be winners, and everybody wants to be part of the winning team. To me, this one round victory is just political posturing. It's not. It's not anything. When it comes down to the cheating, uh, we will have to look into that. But we'll get to that. I know sometime in the discussion. But aside from cheating, it doesn't look likely that it's just people, parties politically trying to rouse their base to support them.
Mr. Sieh.
Dennis, I like the element, if I can pull it that way, for lack of better word, that Jimmy just added, that a one round will mean an overwhelming mandate from the Liberian people. I really like that. And so let us talk about that, all of us. Um, so who is going to get that mandate? It's obvious it's going to come from the Liberian people. To get that mandate, it must be a majority. Anything that is not majority is not a mandate, from my understanding of what a mandate is, because we only talk about mandate when it's given to a winner who in most instances gets the majority, right, Jimmy?
Right.
Okay,
Exactly.
fine. So who is going to get that mandate? How united are a greater portion of the Liberian people at this time? Do we even see a trend, Dennis? Do we even see a collective appetite of the voters moving in a particular direction as we speak? Now, let me hasten quickly, Dennis, to remind us about things that Liberians will say that sometimes can fuel or serve as a catalyst um, in moving people' minds in a particular direction.
Hmm.
We heard, you noble, you're not noble, I'll vote for you. It became a rhythm in the minds of people and they flow with it, and Joshua got elected. We can go as far back as, you noble, you came on mine, you came on part. Now, wow, the new phenomenon we're seeing here now, then is, we're hearing is that a paper we want, whether he owe or he not owe, will vote for him. Whether he sick, he not sick, will vote for him. So we can't dismiss this because we heard of two separate ones in the past, and those things led to a victory for the person in whose favor those things were said. Now we can't say right now and say, well, that will be an automatic victory for Bwaka.
Yeah.
It depends on how it generates,
All
how
right.
it swears, how it continues with it
And
material.
Mr. Sieh, how many people should say that before it result into what you're talking about? Because in the case of you came mama, we don't know how many were saying it. It was said. In the case of you know book, you don't know book. We don't know how many people said it, but it was said. So how can we really gauge that to say, well, what we heard before we are hearing it?
And it is difficult. The only conclusion that will be intelligent for one to make is that, hey, Liberian said similar thing in the 90s for Charles Taylor win. All right. And then later on, they said it for George Weah, even though he didn't win 2005, 2011, he will win in 2017, right? So one might think that, well, the way they're saying this now, it might become the case. Now, we cannot also say because it was the case with Taylor and Weah, so it will automatically be the same with Omebwaka. And yet, we cannot also dismiss it. So the point I'm making with this, Dennis, is that Jimmy was talking about mandate. When they said that about Taylor, we can argue Taylor got the mandate. When they said that about Weah 2 election cycles later got the mandate. Though Taylor was immediate, Weah came subsequently. Will Waka be immediate? I don't know. We can only follow the trend, my brother.
And somebody said something also, which I found very ridiculous,
Okay.
was that one round means there will be violence.
Uh-huh.
And the person, I would say, ignorantly said, when Doug won one round 1985, we had war.
Uh-huh.
When Taylor won one round 1997, there was also war.
Right.
And I found that statement very ridiculous. I don't know what Jimmy thinks.
And Lee, I'm what you're saying is interesting. Can you say why you felt that is very ridiculous? Can you share
Right.
with us?
Because it's a one round means if somebody win one round, it means it will cause war. Not because two things happen side by side, mean one is causing the other.
Okay.
Yes. So there's nothing there to point to that one round caused the war.
Mhm.
right? Many people agree that President Doe cheated in that election. So, and some link the war to the fraud or stealing the election.
Mhm.
So, if election is stolen and people go in the bush and cause and start war, that is now one round that is causing it. It's because there's fraud. When Charles Taylor won one round in 1997, I mean, this was he won it. Okay, and we could clearly see that because people maybe afraid that okay, let's give it to him because this is the only person who, when he wins, then will have peace.
Mhm.
So he won that. So had Taylor now gone to Sierra Leone and done other things, still killing people, I think if he had really turned around, he was going to be the next Jerry Rollins. So I do not be so that statement that because he won one round, that's why uh, Sekou Damante and the other people came to and there was war. That's why I say the statement is ridiculous.
And Dennis, I must agree with you. I see Jimmy knocking there too. You are right. Taylor won that election. We can't go back to change what happened. Liberians needed peace. Peace was one thing that was needed at all costs, and anything Liberians needed to do to have gotten that peace was necessary to do so. The human suffering was unbelievable. The pains on every side, children uh, couldn't have food to eat. We saw that our parents barely could not do anything for them. I mean, the spirit of the war was horrible, and it's the only thing we needed, and something for which even people shed blood was that peace. We needed it. So to have given Taylor the presidency in exchange for peace was the most reasonable thing to do.
Yeah.
And as we can agree that the song sang then was, stupid. I would say that it was stupid. But the wisdom in it was, hey, what we need now, that's peace. If we can get peace, then we can start thinking about other things that are necessary. So yeah, not to waste time. You made a very good point there. Taylor got elected. It was Taylor now duty to recognize the human suffering that he has brought on his fellow citizens and provide a leadership, all right, that will give them relief economically. But Taylor, because of his own day doing, like you said, that he went to Sierra Leone, you know, armed embargo came on him, and his hands were tied by America, and Liberians had to suffer. So it's not because he won war round Chile that brought the war. It was the things Taylor started doing by becoming president. This man had ATU that were terrorizing citizens in the city of Monrovia. All right, those boys could beat anybody mercilessly, and nothing will come out of it. And so Liberians who felt unsafe decided that they too will go after him. That was brought the war. Taylor refused to govern as a leader should, especially one who suffer our people. He brought that on himself. So yeah, I agree with you 100%.
I also want to add in, if we're going to claim someone has a mandate, it's not just a 50+1 victory, it's an
Mhm.
overwhelming victory.
Thank you.
Yeah, that has to be clarified. An overwhelming victory where you have at least maybe 60+% of
Mhm.
the vote.
Okay.
Then yes, then we say you have you have the mandate of the people.
Mhm.
But we've have seen cheating in elections. We back in the day we heard about the King elections where the ballot casts were more than the electorate, more ballot casts than people. And then we heard with Dole. And they said they claimed he cheated, but in 1985 during the Kuiwampa, um, what do they call it, catastrophe?
Conviction.
Yeah, he there was a Charles Bayon, the late Charles Bayon, had obtained information from Emmett Harmon. He was the election commissioner. That was proof that wrong things happened during the ballot counting. So now, we're aware that people in our elections, we've seen fraudulent elections go on. The first time I started hearing about this one round victory was the midterm elections, where the opposition, the CPP, they had a high degree of success in the midterm elections. And they were so confident that now they believe it will be a one round victory for the CPP when they were in together. But that's not the case today. Has been a lot has happened since then. So I don't see any opposition with a clear advantage here because they have the infighting, the dirty games. They are in disarray, and it's not even they're not even sure. There's no agreement signed between any of them that even if one of them should make it to the second round, the other faction will support them. So I can't understand why would anyone claim, especially in the opposition, a one round victory. It's just
Yeah.
not even likely.
So Jimmy, that brings us to the question that I asked earlier. What does each of these guys looking at? You know, first when we first started hearing about one round, especially from the WIA side, their understanding was, hey, our guy is popular, and I don't know how, but we people keep saying he has a solid 30%, 25, 30% that is for him as his base. And that's the people you wouldn't take away, no matter what. Just like the ones Trump spoke about, say, when I even stay on Fifth Avenue and shoot someone, these people will not lose. They will not leave me alone, right? So WIA has that. So they were saying now with WIA base, and prior to, in previous elections, you saw that Grand Bassa County was for the late Councillor Brumskin. So he will win Bassa no matter what. Prince Johnson stand in the election, he's winning Nimba no matter what. Now, those two are no longer there. So if they are no longer there, President WIA is able to grab them, grab voters, grab votes from those two counties, big ones too. And we've seen Southeast, he has won, and he's still popular in that area. So when they started talking about President WIA winning one round, those were the things that they were looking at. I don't know to what extent that have changed. When we look at Councillor Gonglo, who is coming in the election for the first time, he has never run for any elected office before. And he started what many saw was little later than people that have been there before. We have the LP, the UP, the ANC, the CDC. They've been running, right? So now Councillor Gonglo is saying, I'm going to win this in the first round by even 60%. Mr. Cummings, I mean, he has made some inroads, as people say, but a lot of people also say, well, with everything that he has spent, he's not really getting the result for his bucks, right? So what is he really looking at? So many people say, some people are saying, well, Mr. Cummings has not really gained the traction that he should based on the work that he has done and based on the money that he has put in. Then come to of late now, we're hearing about Joseph Newman Boakai also saying one round. So my question is, what is it that they are looking at? Are they seeing something that we don't see?
Then if I might go first here, and I will be telling you what I hear them say that is Sieh. Okay. And then I might come back to say whether I agree with them or not. On the WIA side, first you mentioned the 30% they believe they have always had in a very solid way. And they have had that. For the sake of argument, we can give that to them. And they said they had that even when President WIA had not done any development that has impacted the lives of Liberians in any meaningful way. They've had it 30%. They believe now President WIA becoming president have built roads, have built hospitals. In their calculation, those hospitals are seen homes that he has built, People are seeing it. Poor people are living in these homes. Now they're talking electricity. I don't know if they can even boast of that. I think they are counting that, even though it goes off and on. And now of late, they are boasting of selling power to Cote d'Ivoire. They are talking about Sport Park and many other things that they are counting. And they have people on payroll. They control the local governments. They employ them, even down to Paramount chiefs are being appointed. If I'm not mistaken, Dennis, you know this, right? And so
The
these
principle of BWI is part of the appointment.
can you imagine that principal for school and all being appointed by the president, Jimmy? This is the enormous power and reach that they are looking at. That wow, these people will have to pay their political loyalty to the president. They have employment today because of the president. If they want to maintain that, their vote will be coming the way of the president, not just them, those for whom they win bread, their children who are adults, their wives and relatives will come the president way. And I'm thinking that's what they are looking at to conclude and say, well, we can win one round victory because we didn't have these variables, the power of the government. We didn't have the coffers that we have now.
Right.
All right. We don't have the money that we have now. And and we won at a time. Now that we have the money, we can snatch the one round of victory. I think that's why on the CDC side, that's what they are seeing. And to add, then please bear with me here. If you look at the geographic of the country, you talk about the Southeast. How many other candidates are competitive in the Southeast? I know Tiawan went there. I know Cummings went there. How competitive they are in the Southeast against we are, no one knows. As for the Unity Party, I would say that they have turned their back on the Southeast accurately, right? So that's another variable there. Now, if you look in the Southeast, you're looking at Grand Jida. Grand Jida has been heavily Joshua, who is making inroad among the other candidates in Grand Jida. To pose a threat to Joshua, you talk about Brodsky now in the race again. Grand Bassa is a little more vulnerable there. The narrative that we are the last election he did well in Grand Bassa. I understand that his mother is from there and all that. So they see some openings there. You mentioned Prince Johnson is not on the ballots, and now there's another opening. And then in Lofa, they are investing in Lofa heavily. You see the Thomas Fowler, you see the Jefferson Koji, you see the Momba Mono. These are all Lofa boys who are all seditions, and they are telling the people, "Low development and now over tradition." So these are the things they're looking at now. Whether these things will materialize for them at the end of the day, that's what I don't know. But those are the things they are looking at.
And let me add before Jimmy comes in is the opposition, right? What the CDC fear was a united CPP.
Thank you, Dennis.
So when that broke apart, they said, well, I mean, we don't have and the vitriol, the infight, and everything continuing.
The bad blood continues.
Sometimes even if you look down the road, you think it's even unlikely for them to coalesce around one person in a second round. Jimmy.
Yeah. Costa and Jimmy, let me see some of your time now. Costa, who was giving the energy to the opposition, he's nowhere. He's diminished completely. He's supposed to run, he's not running. He's not even saying anything for any candidate right now. That is a minus for the opposition. And more than likely, somebody might count it either a plus for the CDC, or if it is not a plus, it's not to take away from them. Jimmy?
Yeah, well, clearly you guys have outlined how it's not likely for the opposition to get it in one round, given all the things you said. But let me go on the CDC side, why it's not likely that they will get the one round. Before, the CDC was not running on a track record. Okay? Now we've seen the performance of this administration. We've seen where they fell, where for places, area that they should have done much better.
Right.
But more importantly, we've seen some of some of their representatives have done. For instance, the other day in where was that in Bomi, where this guy he lifted his hand, and then the crowd started booing. It was clear that they didn't like this candidate. Okay, in that crowd, and that will take away from the the momentum of the CDC. Because if you've had people who have not done justice in their areas, where the people do not want them, that will sway votes away from the CDC because of that. And so, because of the record they have now, and that's why you see President Weah campaigning so hard. They're going to have to make a strong case for why the people should give them another 6 years. So on both sides, it's not clear how any one of them could win in the first round. There's too
Right.
many variables right now.
And Jimmy will come to that, right? But at present, what is Mr. Cummings looking at to claim that he's going to win first round? What is Councillor Gonglo looking at? What is Joe Bwaka looking at? And what is we are looking at? So we're laying out what the we are people are looking at. What do you think the other candidates are looking at to claim first round? Or are you saying they are delusional, for the lack of a better word?
I think they're just trying to rouse their bases. They're trying to give the people the confidence that their votes will not be in vain, that the possibility is there for them to come clean of victory.
Mhm.
It doesn't look likely at all, but to what is it, morale? I think that the president word to build morale. He said, "Oh man, that one round victory," and that's all it sounds like to me.
So you see where they're coming from when people are saying this may resort to violence, because if you raise the hope of your people, say I'm going to win this in first round, no round-up, I'm going to win it 60%. So on election day, if you don't even get around 20%, what do you think your folks are going to say? They cheated us, right? And as a result, they're going to go and start trouble. So you see where people are coming from.
And Dennis, before we get to that, I think we did a good job on sharing with our audience what we see that the CDC looking at, right?
Right.
Now, let's look at what the people in the Unity Party are looking at for claiming one round victory.
Right.
Let's look at what Chawon Gonglo is looking at.
Jimmy said they're looking at nothing. That's what Jimmy said.
Well, Jimmy can say that. They are looking at something. It may not be, big.
You may not
Let's look at what
be able to
Cummings is
hold it,
looking at.
but they see
And
something.
I will start with Cummings here, what they're looking at. Dennis, when I listened to Cummings claiming that they will win the one round victory, what jumped out of me was that he was the only one of the four major candidates who were not saying that. And so he felt that he needed to say so. I think that was the reason he said that. Because his Cummings have had any inclination, any indignation so far that there was any probability to snatch the thing one round, he would have said a long time ago. He waited for CDC to say this over and over. He waited for Joe's Waka team to have started saying it. Chawon Gonglo said a long time ago, he didn't hear that. And then now, for the Cummings people, for Cummings himself to us, and when he said that, he said it as though he never met it. I just wanted to point that thing out. Now,
What does that
but
mean?
if there is anything, I just wanted to make that clear, Dennis.
Yeah, but
If there is anything they are looking at.
I want to push you on that, right?
Yeah,
Are
go
you saying
ahead.
Cummings is copycat?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And oh, yes, Dennis, that is exactly what I just said. That's what I meant. But they have been saying that Mr. Cummings can win this election. That's I can give to them. And we know in politics, no one comes to the race and say, yeah, I'm coming to lose.
Right.
And they have been doing everything. You mentioned quite clearly, Cummings has money. He has been spending money. To Cummings' credit, he has visited the counties multiple times. There have been little investment here and there. I can't point to most of them. Cummings has donated to institutions in Liberia or contributed to individuals in Liberia them more than any other political candidate. Now they see that as political investment and they are counting on that. Now, Cummings' first time in the race, he did well for a first-time participant in the national election in Liberia. When Dr. Tipote participated, he did not come close to what Cummings netted when he participated for the first time. The same can be said about Dr. Formula and many other prominent Liberian politicians who have been around. Cummings did exceedingly well. So looking at that, and Cummings did well with the number he got when the knee Cummings was not known at all. So how did he pull that off? And now that he has gained little knee recognition, they are thinking that that number will double. Now you hear them saying, well, we will come from 7% to 70%. Is that possible? I don't believe that. And, they're just trying to encourage themselves. But the point I'm making with this is that they see now that Cummings has done significant work. Cummings has been around. You can't call him a newbie anymore, to the extent that he will perform better than what he did last time. And given that he has a better name recognition, money is not a problem, he will do better. And with that, he will do better. But now, to say that he will win the first round, I don't see it, because if you look at, is he getting traction? Is he resonating with the people? When Cummings is moving around the community, how many person do you see around him? There are times I see Cummings campaigning, he passed through Wallace, and everybody just there and just look to him and wave and pass. You don't see that with any political candidate who will win a first round victory, Jimmy, that will call an overwhelming mandate. Look, when somebody is to get a mandate, which is overwhelming, that amounts to a one-round victory, Jimmy, you tell from the crowd. When that person shows up somewhere, you see a generic crowd. You don't see that with Cummings. And so that is not possible. They are just saying it to bluff. And I think it's shameless on their part that they say that. But that's politics. You can't tell your people that will not win. I understand that.
Well, I never thought of it this way, but I want to agree with you that the one round thing from the Cummings camp is a bluff. It's like you're only trying to say, well, other people saying it. If I don't say it, I would look like the lazy guy. I would look weak. Because Mr. Cummings have also demonstrated consistently that he's being pushed to do some things that sometimes he comes out very forcefully or trying to play tough, right? Which sometimes when he comes out like that, it's like he's out of character. So I want to agree with you that this whole idea of first round is just being a copycat. Jimmy?
Yeah, the claims, even though they're trying to rally their base, but there's a danger to all of this. We saw in the elections here that Trump, before the elections even commenced, he was the incumbent, okay, and he already started claiming the only way he would lose is if they cheat. You you control the government. Now, how will they cheat if you're in control? He did it so he could create controversy at the end of the elections, and which he did. He was setting the stage so he could undermine the Constitution by saying that they cheated, even though there was no evidence of that. So this is a dangerous thing when we tout around this one round victory, because it can mislead people to thinking that their candidate was actually cheated. Furthermore, to cover how many polls there are going to be, I think, in the thousands, right? Every party, besides maybe the CDC, they have the logistics to be at all those polling stations? This is another thing they're facing. So, in other words, they can make, if they're not there, like we saw what happened in Lofa. And somebody ate the money, the UP money to cover the polls, and there were no poll, nobody was there. And whatever results they got, they get results. So by talking about this one round victory, and you don't even have the coverage for every poll, I think they're setting the stage for something very dangerous, and we have to be very wary of it, to let everybody know this is not even likely, and that you shouldn't even be talking that because it might cause agitation when you lose, just like what Trump did here. So it's a dangerous speech.
But let me welcome Mr. Rushford Manaswa Collison, who's joining us from Texas. Mr. Collison, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Ja, and welcome to all the other studio guests, Brother Eastman and Ansony. A pleasure.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for joining us.
We're discussing the likelihood of a one-round victory in the 2023 presidential election. So the point we are now is each of the top 4 candidates, if we will put it that way, each claiming of a one-round victory. That is, there's going to be no runoff. They're going to win the first round. So the question we are answering now is, what are they looking at? We talk about what. Let's start with Mr. Yu and talk about what is Mr. Waka looking at to say that he's going to win this in the first round.
What? No, normally these are all political, gimmicks, especially looking at our own kind of electoral system we have in the country, the way campaign is conducted and what have you. And for the United Party, even though I'm not a spokesperson, I play a different role on the party by virtue of my role with the fundraising aspect.
Oh, you're a United Party guy.
Yes, I'm actually a Liberty Party supporter of the brand that supports Unity Party. So, by virtue of our relationship with Unity Party, we support the ticket.
Did you mean to say faction or brand?
You
say brand. I don't understand when you say brand. Just say faction.
When I say that, because I'm one of those who still hold the Senator Yomli Kanga Lawrence in the spirit of being the political leader of the party. And
don't be afraid to use the word faction. Don't use the word brand. We know what brand is.
It's that's okay. I chose the word, so I mean, yeah, we can call it different. We can call it different way, but I chose the word.
All right.
So I mean, looking at that, the reason why Walker is kind of claiming the first round victory is because if you look at the variables in terms of our support we're putting for around the country, whether you like it or not, you like him or not, hate him or not, our endorsement by the Senator of Nema County to have produced a vast Senate bill from Nema County have been consequential for every other political party who have secured the Nema vote over the years. Madam Sally benefited of it. George Weah CDC benefited of it. And so to have that block leaning towards the Liberty Party is consequential for us right now.
Leaning towards the Unity Party.
Yeah, Unity Party. It's called for all right now. Morovia is a grasp. And from all indication in terms of our polling, if we were to borrow from the last senatorial by-election or what Senator Dillon came out to show, we've seen it. If we go to all the different clips right now as the campaign around the country, especially in Morovia, you see how much Boca is pulling. So if we can take the elephant share from Monserrado County, we secure Nema and other parts around the country that got considerable number of votes. We are definitely poised to say that yes, it will be a one-round victory for Unity Party. Though there are other, moving factors, other people getting other slices of the pie, but one thing is certain, and we cannot hide from it. If we do not secure the first round vote, Unity Party will lead in the pool. Will lead in the vote count after the first round. That's the first thing I can emphasize based upon the way we are looking at the different aspects.
Have you done that before?
Come again?
Have Unity Party done that before to have acquired more votes in the first count in any of the past 3 elections? Has that happened before?
No, in the past one election, because one of the one that the Unity Party was not in control. Not in control. The one with Madam Salif, Unity Party led the two round elections that we had. She didn't claim onto the constitutional mandate of the percentage of vote to take the first round, or she led. Une was the one with the CDC. That was the Une one. And that's the first time a CDC at the time. So you can't say three.
All right, thank you.
So we are coming back. We are coming back to say, well, at this time around, we are doing all we can do to make sure that we lead in the pool in the first round.
Dennis,
let's
So,
come to the question.
so use the statement of one time vote, one time yeah, it's just a political thing. We know that a lot of moving parts are there, but there's going to be a two-party race at the end of the day. So
Let's come to the main question now. The likelihood is one round victory likely, Mr. Collison, in this on October 10th. They say
I will be perfect to say yes. I cannot be pessimistic. I will be optimistic. Yes, it is likely.
It is likely, because
it is likely. I mean, that's the key word
for the unity. Because you are optimistic for the Unity Party, or you're being fair.
I'm optimistic and looking at what we are doing behind the scene, the work we are putting in.
I'm not talking optimism here. I'm talking practical stuff here.
Yes. The work we are putting into this election come October, this should be a one-round victory for us.
Allow me to poke a little hole into Mr. Collison's theory. You're talking about carrying Nimba. Right now, you have Gonglo, who is a native of Nimba, a son of Nimba, that is vying for the presidential seat. Now, you are, before, when you say you carried Nimba, there wasn't a presidential Nimba presidential candidate in the race. So you are telling us now that the Nimba will leave their native son and vote for somebody for Lofa? Is that what you're trying to tell us? That they will carry Nimba? Is that what you're telling us?
Well, with all due respect to the senior comrade Councilor Tiawan Gonglo, who I respect so highly, we have seen that when it comes to the Gonglo vote in Nema County for the last election of the Sister Edith for the senatorial seat, we've seen that they did not amass that popularity.
Really, Mr. Collison, you're going to use Edith vote to equal Gonglo?
To come on a more full front, Mr. Jar, is that if you look at Nema County's population, our support coming from the Senator Prince Yomi Johnson, who hailed from the Gear ethnicity, tells us that, and by all population data, the Gear people are in majority in Nima. We produce a vast Senate Barrow who is a mano.
No.
So obviously,
the vast Senate Barrow is not a mano.
He's split between there.
The mother is Gil.
Okay. So all right. Now, if we look at that, the question about it is that Councillor Gonglo has not been able to produce successful political ticketing in Nima County, like the way, for example, the late Councillor Bonskin did with Grand Bassa. He repeated it to God Grand Bassa. We saw that every time. That was his strength. They were testing the water for the very first time.
Then, I ask a question, Collison.
Yes.
When Bronskin did it for the first time, did you have a way of knowing that he would have done it for the first time he did it? Because Gonglo is on record of doing it or not doing it for the first time. How will you be able to tell that he will be able to pull significant votes?
Well, I gave it all due respect. We'll see what the result turns out to be.
Thank
but
you.
I can tell you, honestly speaking, Councillor Gonglo will pull substantial vote, but not to the level to wherein he will take over Nima County as a tsunami that Unity Party or the ticket will not get anything from Nima County. No.
Let me come in, Dennis.
That's for fact.
Dennis, let me come in.
Right, because what he just said, that gave us that the first round victory is unlikely, right? If we just use Nimba, because you're saying the way people vote, especially in Nimba, is, believe it or not, is on the ethnic lines, right? So if the two ethnic groups are kind of maybe 55-46, I mean 55-45, or there, we also have the Crown in public district, or Yahweh Mesilon area there, get the so you have the Mandingo, you have all these variables. So what you just explained tells me that nobody is going to win, get a more population, of bigger margin in Nimba outrightly. So everybody going to take a piece of the population. So
Let's see. It might end up being a Maserati county. Let's see.
So if you extend it across the counties, especially across the big counties, you will see that is very unlikely. Mr. Sieh, go ahead.
Dennis, thank you. You know, the likelihood of each of the candidates winning first round is very, very slim. I don't find that to be possible in these coming elections. So, but let's talk about Boakai. Let me come in with the Nimba issues you talk about. Prince Johnson delivered for Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. It was in the second round. It was not in the first round. When Prince Johnson delivered for Joshua, it was in the second round. It was not in the first round. We're talking.
I didn't say that.
Let me learn, comrade.
The president was the candidate in all of the first round.
Let me learn.
Yeah. But in this case, not a candidate, I guess.
Let me finish, Mr. Collison.
Why?
When he delivered for those two political candidates, I mean, it happened in the second round. It was not the first round. Let's establish that. So now, at the time, you didn't have a reputable Nimba son like Tiawan in the race. So there was less split of the vote. Then it brought in the tribal aspect of it. And that is a reality in our election. You have the Nimba people, I mean the Mandingo people. Musa Belete is running. He is their prominent son. Musa Belete is supporting Alexander Mbedene Cummings. I can say with certainty a good number of the Mandingo voting bloc in Nimba County will go for the CPP because Musa Belete will tell them to do so. At the time when Prince Johnson delivered, you didn't have that. So there's a serious split right there. Jeremiah Kun, you're talking about, he's Gyo, so there's not much difference that's going to happen. He's and Prince Johnson, they have always been the same, tribal block. So it's not going to be. Now, we are talking about Boakai this time. Boakai in Lofa County has a challenge in his hometown. Clarice Monumba is running.
Mhm.
So Monumba is going to take some votes away. So it's not that Boakai is going to have a sweep in Lofa. He's not going to have the lion's share that Ellen got in the second round. He's not going to get it. All right, Boakai not going to get it in Nimba. Then in Lofa, where he's supposed to get lion's share again, is being cut off. In the southeast, he's not going to get as much as he could get if he were making efforts. Did you see him in the southeast? Is he ever going to go there? Are they making some efforts there? Then you come to Monserrato County. GDC is fighting. The CPP is fighting. You have Monumba is fighting. You got Sarah Beslo Yanti is fighting. These people might get little things, but all those things are taken away from Comrade Boakai. I am saying this to say that what he will get from you, the Liberty Party, will not be significant. He needed all of Liberty Party, or he will have needed the entire CPP. He doesn't have it. It's a serious split. So, my brother, as hopeful as you are, I get it, and that's why you need to do in an election. But to say the way Boakai is positioned now, the Unity Party can only bend on its past record, that record that did not make it for them, have never succeeded in the first round with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf.
No.
Do not succeed.
Shit.
In the first round with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. And you are telling me, look, Ellen is that player. Man, don't tell me that thing. Ellen is that player who will go to work, who will bring people together. People that are coming together to the Unity Party is because of the bread, the pie. It's not Waka.
So, Mr. Sieh, and with this, is a first round victory likely in 2023?
It is not likely for any of the candidates as we speak right now.
Jimmy, is a first round victory likely for any of the candidates?
Not at all. If I were any of the candidates, I'll be concentrating on what I'm going to do for the second round, because that will be the deciding moment.
And why? Why do you think so? Why do you think the first round victory for any political party is unlikely?
We've all taken the main voting populations are going to be split. Nimba, Lofa, Grand Bassa, Monserrato. It's going to be split. There's nobody has a commanding lead in any of those regions. We saw the UP get defeated just the other day in Lofa, their backyard. They may claim whatever they may claim, but you're already defeated. There are some sentiments. For instance, you were against the UP went against the men that won that were being backed by the CDC. How sure are we that man will not turn votes against the UP now? Now that he's won, and he was not backed by UP, he was not backed by Joseph Barker and his people. He will likely turn votes against the UP. So it's clear that no one has commanding. It's all broken up splintered into pieces, and no one has the commanding lead. So the thing to do is they better focus on the second round. Now, that will be a problem for the UP, because they've allowed the CPP to disintegrate, and I know there's going to be bad feelings there. They're not even trying to patch the walls. I was listening to some broadcasts today, and they're not even they're according to the person they are showing arrogance that they can win this all by themselves. And we saw what happened in Lofa. So it's very clear that
one significant point, I'll be very brief with it.
Okay.
Remember when Simon Kai won as the Unity Party candidate on the CPP, and CDC used the quote because he had this legal battle and were more like denied of taking a seat. That seat went into re-election, and the Unity Party put out a candidate. Joseph Boakai was the head of the Unity Party in Lofa County. Now, before that re-election, that by-election, the citizens of Lofa said they were raising money because at some point the court said Samoka needed to pay the money, and then he will be allowed to take his seat. Samoka could not find the money. Lofa citizens put together. Unity Party could not raise money to pay that money for them to maintain their seat. They couldn't find it. Now, they couldn't find the money. The man was found guilty. The man could not take seat. That seat went to a by-election. Unity Party put on a ticket. Put on a candidate. Unity Party could not win that seat in Boaka's backyard. Unity Party. This is the Unity Party that will win a first-round victory in Liberia. I want to see that. I will give them that credit. I submit.
Both me and Brother Eastman presentation of Lofa County, why it appears to be true on the broad face, but with the specific of the cultural divide in Lofa as well, is what you guys have not gotten.
And this happened when we didn't have the money back factor, though. And now
you mentioned the money back factor. That the first thing I want to get to.
The only factor that defeated that was
Money back.
the CDC, Mamba Molu,
Hold on,
Jefferson
Mr.
Cody,
Sieh,
Thomas
explain
Farai,
that.
all those people.
All the names you are calling, likewise myself, we are Morovia Lothians.
Okay.
We are Morovia Lothians. Karen Moneba cannot shake Boca vote in Lofa County. He cannot. Karen Moneba might be borrowing on the name of his father.
Right.
Many of the generation who voted today have never even got to see who a father is, who a father was, the legacy of the father in among the Lofa County people. Nothing. I'm seeing that for a fact because my father, my late father, worked as a special assistant to Dr. Moneba after his demise. So I know the family very well. Kevin was by far below my junior. Because his older brother Paul and I grew up together of the same age. He never even saw Lofa County or Cologne District for that matter. To say it's going to be a consequential impact on Boca.
I hope you don't say that he didn't even see his father.
No. I think Lofa County, I didn't say his father.
But Mr. Collison, the Bandy, you know the Bandy factor, right? Clarence is from Bandy.
Yes.
Right. And then even in the senatorial election, that was the factor.
But let me tell you. Yeah. Senator Joseph Pata Jala happened to be a child of a twin child in a sense. Father Loma, mother Bandy. But then I share one sister. So, Pata was able to pull from his Loma ethnicity and the Bandy ethnicity. If Pata had just declared his support to CDC.
Pata is not for CDC. So, Manga.
Yeah, if he had just declared his support for CDC when he was running, Pata was not going to win. Because the people of Lofa County are disappointed right now as to why he pledged his support to CDC after he won. He was never going to win. It's a betrayal of Pata to the people of Lofa County. He was never elected there. He was elected to replace Samoka that the people wanted. All right? So now we're to see that Lofa done. When it comes to Lofa County,
Katima is disenchanted now with the Unity Party.
I agree.
And that's Bandy, and so he's losing Bandy again.
Katima is Loma. Katima is not Bandy, he's Loma.
Right, he's Loma. Loma is big in Lofa.
Loma. When it comes to Lofa County, traditionally, the kisses are the uncles. There's no way a Clarence Moneba will go to the Bandy people and say, well, I want to defeat my uncle, Joseph Numa Boca. They will say, son, come and sit down. If you think I'm lying, put the issue up with Gafwan. Gafwan went to Lofa to go test his intention for the ticket.
Dennis, these are similar narrative we heard when that by-election was coming up in Lofa. There was no way.
Vote in Lofa County.
There was no way that a candidate could be defeated in Lofa County, and that.
This is about the John Manu, the Cody.
Mr. Collison, can I ask you a question? Now, why or what had Joseph Boakai done so great in Lofa that no one can sway the vote away from him? What has he done? Is it simply because he's from Lofa? What has he done for the Lofa people to say yes?
Because
this man is.
A lot of people from Lofa too, right?
Yeah. Why? What has he done so great for Lofans? From in Kolahun? Wait, he's from. He's from Foya. Yes. What has he done there that the people will want to vote for him so overwhelmingly?
First and foremost, he led agricultural investment in the Foya district and provided some opportunities for his tribal people on his farm.
That is 40 years ago.
Even right now, not 40 years ago, even right now.
Okay.
Even right now. Secondly, you know and I know, Brother Eastman, that Lofa has always been the poster child, always been the forgotten child in so many political elections. as long as we have never had that position of power. We were once upon a time the breadbasket when it comes to agriculture in the entire country.
You mean Lofa that produce Moneybar, that produce Yekesen, that produce...
But what is the role? What is the role of the vice president? Yekesen was at the University of Liberia. What is the role of vice presidents? What is the role? You function at the will and pleasure of the president. You don't have much of your own authority. Much of your own authority. And I can tell you, one of the greatest ever broadcasts we'll see that Lofa goes back into once more on his presidency is the era of agriculture.
Dennis, I think let's see what Tiawan Gonglo was looking at, might have looked at, or thought of when he said he will win it by 65% in the first round. Can we put on our ticking cabin and see what the councillor was looking at? And if you don't mind, I can go first. That
right. No, what the councillor is looking at.
Yeah. All right. Now, is he still claiming that?
He claimed that he has not taken
Already
it back.
claimed it.
He have not taken that back. He can't deny it now, right?
Yeah, he has not
Yeah.
taken it back.
So why is he looking at Dennis? You know, you are a progressive. What is the councillor seeing? What he saw, for which he said he could win there or can win this thing 65% in the first round.
I think the progressive and Mr. Collison and I, even Jimmy, these are the people we look up to when we're growing up, right? So I think there's still this feeling that we can do better. We got this. We can do this better. And so when a progressive talks, they talk with confidence. I think after, based on what the councillor have been saying consistently, how the system is on life support, and the progressive were the ones who fought in the 70s, and they've been fighting consistently, but no one has given them power. So there are some of them who look at the Liberian population and say, well, you guys have not done us well. So they believe when we were growing up, they say past glory, because the progressive were very popular, in the 80s. If there were any elections, like in 1985, that they stood in, they were going to win, hands down. Even it was going to be impossible for President Doe to cheat. So I think they still relish those days and say, well, I think we can do it. I think all he was looking at was, well, if you look at everybody else, I am clean. I have this record of fighting corruption. Now people are complaining of corruption. Of course, I'm from Nimba. Prince Johnson is no longer running. And I've done a lot of work in Montserrado. I have worked with people from Grand Judea when they were in trouble. They freed the Grandidians, or spoke on behalf of the Grandidians that were in jail. So he's looking at all the good things that he believes he has accomplished. And because of that, they will reward him. I think beyond that, being the first time, I don't see anything else. I just see hope.
I think, Dennis, you did a good job there.
If I may chime in a little bit here.
What do you think he was looking at, or he's looking at, to have said that he will win 65% in the first round?
I believe he's looking at the messaging.
Okay.
He's looking at the messaging of progressiveness in terms of our body politics.
You sounding as somebody who is in their own jacket now. Go ahead.
Yeah, because when we were growing up, Tiawan and a lot of other bigger progressive brothers, they were the first step we tried to emulate. But if you look at our generation and the generation thereafter us, the progressive politics in Liberia practically died when the Civil War took over. A new form of politicking came into being. So, had there been the continuation of the messaging, even during the course of the Civil War, on the Sawyer administration, under the different internal governments coming up to Madam Salif, then we would have had a lot of young people today who are up there making political decisions, understanding the consequences of the decision they make. But that was taken away. So what really he's looking at, I have yet to see it. I have yet to see it. But I think it is a very tough road ahead to bring back that progressive, message to the Liberian voting population, because it has really, really been lost as
Right.
the red war relish, into some other historical past right now.
I think
And Mr. Collison, Mr. Collison, I think even the progressive themselves, or those who we look at as progressive, did not help the situation, right? Because
Exactly.
they all went in different areas. Um,
You saw them.
you saw them; they
But
were add
a
on with
group one with the Taylor factor when Taylor went into the rebel war as a rebel. And the group went with him when he became president. A group came with Madame Salif. You name the rest. So they all begin to have different agendas.
Some always what's his name, Josh, we are today.
Exactly. At the end of the day, why have they finally reduced themselves to, look, man, we've been in it for 40 years, we never got power. We can't die in it. Let's get money there and take it ourselves right now.
And many are not even identifying with their own Tier 1 Gonglo. Let me add, Dennis.
Exactly.
I think the time the progressive dominated our politics, it was the time the thirst for the right thing to be done in our country was overwhelming, if I can pull it that way. And I think Tier 1 is still in that bubble of it, that Liberians' pride or decency or count decency over what is outnumbered today. And I think he stayed in that bubble, that we are a people who are so proud of ourselves. We want the right thing to be done. We want better government. We want accountability. That we want to see corrupt people to be persecuted. We don't want to be associated with corrupt people. I think Tier 1 Gonglo believe that many Liberians are in that space that he has been in all along. Unfortunately for him, that is not the case. I see Liberians walking beyond Mangil. I remember a son recently that they want Mangil business, the whole country talking. This is somebody who are vaccinated for abuse of public trust, sanctioned by the US government. Our very citizens are trotting behind this man. This man distributed $110 million Liberian dollars in our country. Less than 4 years into government, someone who could barely put gas in his car, just 5 years ago. Just 5 years ago. I know my numbers. This is the man Liberians are walking behind. Tier 1 is yet to grapple with that reality. He's yet to see that this is happening in his Liberia. He's in a different world. He doesn't see that. Edwin Melvin Snow is one person. He'll move from that country and go to the other country and he will win. All because he had questionable money. Liberians are behind him. They respect him because he hasn't stolen money. This is the reality of today that Tier 1 sees, but he can't believe and doesn't want to accept. And so he believed that Liberia he had known, that good Liberia, is possible today with his message of political righteousness, for lack of a better word, using his broom. And so in his world, that is the majority of the Liberian people. And they will vote for him. And in that world, he will get that 65%, but it's not a 65% that will make him to the second round. Unfortunately, no. It's just a pity for the decent citizen of ours.
And Jimmy, before you come in, I want to announce that if you want to join the conversation, please call 605-313-6004. We're going to be ending this thing in the next 15 to 20 minutes. The code is 791403#. And Mr. Sieh is a sad reality. Sometimes I look and I see that maybe some of us, the country has left us behind. And I think Mr. Collison, even though he's now on the Buakai side, but you will agree with me here, that even the things that we see, people go to a function and they are there, they take 20 minutes, they are singing. Mm-hmm. I mean, these were the intellectual places we went when we wanted to hear something. We wanted people to, and the people are singing and they are sweating for the next 1 hour nonstop. And this is strange to some of us. And so if you leave from here and want to do anything in Labrador, people tell you, well, you have to join. You have to join this. I mean, look at Mr. Alexander Cummings when he first went. I mean, he wanted to do this, do that. Later on, he said, hey, I have to create a big tent. And things will start to change. So I think the country has left off behind. And that's why people that you and I yesterday, when we were even in high school, would laugh at. These are the people that have been celebrated.
And then let's talk about the people Liberians listening to today, the people that make the big numbers. Look at their character. I'm not saying we are better than them, but look at their character. Look at their reputation. Look at the things that come from their mouth. The people thousands of Liberians listening to, the platforms thousands of Liberians follow. Look at who they are. Look at their records.
When the social fabric of our country was disintegrated, you and I with this civic back in the days, they told us that the smallest unit of a community is the family. When the family became disintegrated as a result from the Civil War, where values were no longer being respected, but rather who carried the biggest gun, who could grab and go, people begin to gravitate towards that kind of a mentality that has destroyed us today. And it's a sad thing that people will help people who steal money, who commit crimes, come back and give them peanuts, and they cheer them up. When some of these people are supposed to be in jail. And that is some of the issues that some of us have right now. And we hope that the old man boycott or whoever claiming onto the one-shot vote other than CDC, that if they win, they should put into place those structural systems, whether that Tier 1, whether Alexander Cummings, whether Joseph Boycott, to have these guys held accountable. Why must somebody all of a sudden been living in a one-bedroom, could not even afford, as Sieh just said, gasoline for a car, even a one meal, all of a sudden become a millionaire? Why must the US government sanction people for money laundering and other financial malpractices? And you never heard anything about the Justice Ministry for prosecution. Because the rope of where that money was pulling from, it had a beginning, it had an ending. And it was beginning with President Weah, it ended with President Weah. That's the reason why we were not able to prosecute those guys then. So we hope and pray that anyone taking over office to defeat CDC, to make corruption a battle, should fight it. This should not only be Tiawan Gongo on the message, it must be a message for every other candidate that you will not compromise corruption.
Right,
when it comes to that. So that we can give our children.
That kind of message doesn't win election these days. The message that win election, I mean, look at, and Jimmy, I want you to chime in with this. Look at the VP choices, right? You cannot go, I don't really think, full disclosure, Jeremiah Cohn's father and I come from the same hometown, right? But you cannot really tell me that the Liberia we grew up in, that if people were looking for a vice presidential candidate, someone at the level of the Unity Party, will go to a Jeremiah Cohn. I mean, because they are, everything has shifted, that Koji, Snow, Yeka, and nothing against these people. I mean, in the Liberia you and I grew in, these people who have never come around being the minister. But here we are, and we all against them because they're where the country is now. That we have to, as one of the Bwaka people, he said, we have to kiss the frog. We have to dance with the devil. We have to do all these things so as to take power. And this is, I believe, this is sad.
It is sad, Dennis. Very sad.
Well, you know,
we have to go to them, because if we don't do it, we'll be completely left out. Some of us, we hit 50. The next 12 years, we may not be able to do anything anymore. So we say, well, let me go eat now.
Okay.
He said the people I fought for all these years, they didn't vote for me. So let me go to Taylor. Let me eat. I have these few remaining years to live. And that's the painful and sad reality. Jimmy, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, you guys been um, hitting it on the nail. We've seen the debilitation of our ethics and morals. The war, but even after the war, we have yet to reestablish law and order in the country. It has not been done.
Yeah.
We were at a point where we were almost a failed state. So Ellen has tried to rebuild some of that infrastructure, but it's still got yet to do. And that is the task of the next generations, the next administrations. But today, there's much impunity. Impunity rules, and it's not just at the top. You know, I mean, we can easily point to the Bill Torre. We can easily point to McGill, but at all levels of the Liberian government, we find that you have to pay as you go for the simplest things, for for a letter, for a license. That has become the norm, and I don't see anybody talking about restoring all that in the Unity Party. And that is the task that they're going to have to do. So tomorrow, when they go to the polls, the people still feel hunger in their guts. And they're gonna have to be convinced that the candidate they are voting for is going to change things, you know. And where are they going to get that confidence, you know? And that is my concern, because I don't see anybody exuding that. The people who I know can like Gongo or Cummings, who's been talking about it, they don't have that same popularity. So what's going to happen is it's evident. Whoever spends more money right now, believe it or not, Collison, whoever going to be spending more money on this election will get the biggest share. That's what's going to happen. It's almost clear. It's the writings on the wall. Money rules now. You can do anything with money. You can get away with anything with money in Liberia. So what makes you think the person who is spending more money will not win? Unless Buckeye say he got trunk. He got one big treasure chest. Because I already have money problems there.
I won't go deep. I won't go deep into other things that I do know right now, because it's not in my purview to diverge. So I will leave it as such. But we will see.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, this is Between the Headlines. We are discussing the likelihood of a one-round victory in the 2023 presidential elections. If you are there, we lost one caller who was on there. So please get in your calls. We have 10 minutes to close. What I want us to look at, so please call the line quickly so that we can get in. So as we discussed, I think it's a consensus beside Mr. Collison said, because he's optimistic, that's why he's saying one round is likely. But I think it's a consensus here that it's unlikely.
He doesn't have the math. He just have the optimism.
Yeah, it's good to live on hope.
But there's nothing wrong with that, Anthony.
Yeah, hope is
that. You know,
the math does not favor that. So
we are doing our groundwork. We are doing our groundwork. So I'm optimistic about groundwork.
It means that the men believe in science, believe in the Bible, so that works. I believe the Bible works.
Let me read a few comments here. Alson Saba said, why I think Tiawan say Gongo is going through the second round. His campaign strategy has been the best among the various parties except the ruling party. Now he understands the importance when preparing for a test. He understands engagement. As Jua is the vice president from the ruling party, Yakwa will come from that belt, so the percentage will be split. In Nimba, as much as Senator Prince Johnson is the godfather, his vice presidential candidate is not running BP Boakai. Mr. Collison, Emmanuel Amase, is this our Manaswa Collison? The answer is yes.
Well, Emmanuel Amma, yes, I am. So
Jackie said that's the problem with our country. All these twists and turns, and the country remains stagnant.
Yeah.
Andrew Joy, first round victory for a particular party is not imminent, but could be possible anyway. I'm looking at the voting population of 3 counties: Bong, Nimba, Lofa. Sometimes we discuss these things.
And then Paul writes, one round victory is just a liquor talk.
Yeah.
he's a liquid talk.
Liquid talk.
That person meant liquor talk. That's why I said liquor talk.
Carlson said, I should ask you, Mr. Collison, what Boaka has done for Lofa in the past 40 years. I don't think Mr. Collison want to do that.
No.
Sam Waller said, none of this matters. In the second round, it is down to 2 candidates. And Sam has consistently said, we are and Boakai.
Yeah.
Elvis Morris said, the man on the deal or the Dan and the Ma make up 8% of Nimba County. Abochi, like Unity Party or not, they are simultaneously campaigning around the country is very strategic. I don't see every week they are in Nimba.
No.
When are they being granted? Sino, Maryland.
I'll tell you right now, because the VP had to leave today to go for meeting the ECOWAS.
What VP doing to
There was a case scheduled for Southeastern region today. But when he returns in the next 3 days, he'll be going to the Southeastern region. So I can tell you that for a fact.
The surrogates have, anyway, we don't want to go into that. Actual fact was, I find it hard to take a political party seriously in Liberia when they cannot field a candidate in almost every district and county, let alone all of Masurado County District.
Yeah.
And Jackie is talking to you, Mr. Sieh. He said, every candidate has the right to hope. There is nothing shameless about that. You said it was.
Thank you, Jackie.
Jackie, I agree.
Gonglo will get more votes than Cummings, says Sam Waller. And Sam Waller has been on the Boakai side. Sam, you can't hide your hand. You are Boakai man. Also, this is based on the return from the field, the analytics. He said Cummings is claiming his first round victory because from the analytics.
We saw the first analytic from the
VPS.
The VPS, right? And then what happened?
The opposition candidates are saying it to level the playing field since the ruling party have been claiming that for months. That is the first round victory. Mm-hmm. So I think we are all. Boto said, I disagree. The election Taylor won was never given to him. He won that election. Yeah, we say he won that. Victor Number said, given the multiplicity of parties, a first round victory is improbable. Let's use non-likely, for those of you. Additionally, a second round win is good because it will humble the winner. So let's talk about if we agree that a first round victory is unlikely, and we are talking about second round, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Collison, Paul said no one round. Mr. Collison, you want to retract your statement about first round?
No, I'm not going to retract my statement, Mr. Job. I mean, I think I say, well, I'm cautiously optimistic that there'll be a one-round victory. However, the variables that we are working on to give us that certainty, it's not in our view to discuss that. But I'm sure based upon what I know, we will achieve it. Right. If it turns out to not be, the second thing I said earlier is that we will lead in the first round. Right. I said it earlier. So going to the second round, if my optimism doesn't hold, second round will be a two-party race.
Right.
And we will take consensus then.
I will take that as you are hoping you're betting on the second round, because you see when I did when we're doing a winning soul for Great Commission, they said don't ask the person whether they already are Christian or not. Just say the sinner's prayer. If they follow you, then you know they're not saved. If they don't follow you, then you know they're saved. So what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to ask you for first round anymore. I'm going to ask you for second round. Who you think win the second round?
Well, it's a two-party race. I would tell you, obviously, it's a two-party race. That would be with the United Party and with the Congress for Democratic Change. That's a two-party race.
Right. And do you believe in that two-party race, the rest of the opposition will coalesce around Mr. Buckeye, or the bad blood is just too much?
Well, we are building consensus, and
And,
we
and
will build consensus. Now, as we are building, we will build it all the way up to the second round, and we will accommodate, and other people have to accommodate us too, and there will be reconciliation in the process of accommodation. So, at the end of the day, if your bad blood is so thick that you want to sacrifice Liberia, recover it from this corrupt government of the CDC, that you will hit a Buckeye, then well, so be it. But if you put your ambition below the interest of Liberia and coalesce around the Unity Party with Buckeye, then we'll welcome you, we'll hash our differences, we'll look for a better country. But nobody should take a bad blood to the second round only because there was issue of political disagreement in preparing, the first round election. So
you call that disagreement? Some say betrayal.
Wait,
Some people
wait.
say, but Jimmy,
Let me come in small. Let me come in
before
small.
you come in, Sam will say everyone who watches Focus everywhere regularly know who support Jim or Sam. Are you saying who you support or who I support? What are you talking about here? But come on, Jimmy.
Yeah, Mr. Collison, the thing you see, wait, the people came together and said, let's do this thing together. Soon, one of them turned the back, you stab him in the back, you kick him, or you say, we want you in here. Then the other three get around you. Then the man who been carrying you all around, use a big platform to promote you. You tell him, say, no, my man, I don't need you. Then the other man who been financing. Then you tell him, say, too, my man, and all that thing you did, we now want you. Then a woman who broke her party, split her party, lost her seat, lost her the leadership, and got under you there. You said, no, you know what? Anyway, just can't sit out here. All these things you have done, you don't think it will come and haunt you? You don't think it's going to come back and haunt you?
No, because the parable or the phrasing under which you're trying to provide some caricature to the political individuals, it doesn't fit the story narrative as to what happened.
Wow.
And we don't have time to explain all of the details of what happened in those differences that occurred. But with the woman, the woman right now is our campaign manager. So let's leave that part. So with the other two individuals, I try to give some other, a personification to, let's leave it. Because the fact as to why things went the way they are is not related to the way you just try to present it. So we don't have the time right now, but we can discuss that on another day. Or maybe after we get up the show, we can talk about it, but it's more.
Okay, continue.
But it didn't happen the way you try to present it for our listening audience. So let me call you on that.
Okay. It would, I mean, you know what they say, like pregnant woman, they say the better the kind friend, I'm going,
But it would be their choice. It would be their choice, because if you telling me because we did not agree, and so you will decide to support a George Weah re-election.
Not sure I agree, you deceive.
Why can't you do it now?
What if the people believe? But Collison, what if the people believe? What if they believe you deceive them? You deceive. That's what you're failing to understand. It's not I didn't agree. You deceived me.
No, there was nothing deceptive. There was nothing deceptive. There was nothing deceptive. There were negotiations and there were decisions that were made. And because everyone had their own political agenda, their own political interest in the process. And it could not override the interest of the JMB, of Joseph Walker.
His personal interest?
So this is about JMB interest and not the nation's interest?
No, but Brother Eastman knows very well, right after the election, when the CPP was structured, there was a popular mandate from the Liberian people calling for the coalition ticket of Joseph Boga and Alexander Cummings. That was the people mandate. The people wanted that two individuals on a white ballot. But we go to all of the details as to what happened, what led to tonight holding together everything. We will not finish here today. We'll go on tonight. So, but as I said, we keep it for another day. But the backstabbing, there was negotiation, there were decisions taken, and there was no deception. The good decisions were taken. It was tough, it was hard, and that's what we do in politics.
Yeah, but I agree with you there.
I want you to talk about the second round. Who you think going to the second round, and if the rest of the opposition political parties will coalesce around that person?
I just told you the second one being United Party in the CDC.
I'm talking to Jimmy.
Okay.
Okay. The second round, the incumbent will definitely be there. I don't see any way that the CDC will not make it to the second round. Now, it's a toss-up about how much campaigning will be done before that. If the Unity Party be successful to go to the second round, the CDC will overwhelmingly beat them. But if it's an unknown, like a dark horse, like a Gonglo or a Cummings, that will put a different question mark on what the result would be. And that's why I honestly believe Cummings make it to the second round, no telling who will win. If Gonglo make it to the second round, but if Unity Party make it, the past will catch up to them.
So are you thinking this all? We done beat them before? Mr. Sieh, who you think going to make it?
Well, it is kind of difficult at this time. But looking at the performances of the political parties in the elections, I won't doubt if Unity Party makes it to the second round. They did it in 2005. They did it in 2011. 2017, when the Unity Party got so unpopular. When the Maradona, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was not on the ticket. When they had then a political weakling, Joseph Boakai, they will still make it to the second round. Boakai now is enjoying an enormous political sympathy. I see a voter appetite that is picking up. I hear a son, whether he owe or not owe, whether he dying or not dying, will vote for him. That was a son that is sang in Weah's favor. He's president today. They did it for Taylor. Taylor became president. So there's no reason to doubt that Boakai can make it to the second round. Now, President Weah will make it to the second round. I wait to see. I can only quote Boakai's possibility with analysis that I just did. Cummings, I don't see the chance. He has so much money. He has spent. He has traveled. He has done everything. He has put a team together. That team got buried. Louis Brown, we don't hear him anymore. I don't know if he's still alive. He's somebody that I admire. I like his speaking ability. I want to be able to speak like him. He's forceful. I like the guy. But where is he? When Louis Brown was first brought on T. Cummings, he was loud. He was everywhere. He came here. We interviewed him. He was everywhere. Where is he? Why is he not visible? We have 43 days to election. What time he's waiting for? The Cummings team, what time are they waiting for to start talking? The Tier 1 people, I only see Tier 1 and Yakpablo. Where are the progressive? I don't see them. The fact that we don't see them now, we may not see them in the second round. Those we don't see right now, we don't see them, we may not see them in the second round. The CDC, I see Eugene Nambe. I see Josh Weah. I see Joel Howard Taylor. I see Claire Marie Weah. I see Mumba. I see all of them everywhere. I see Twer. They are doing everything. They are chanting. I see Daughters of Weah. Weah intellectual move. I see everything. The way we see them now, don't be surprised you see them in the second round. The ones we are having a difficult time seeing, we might not see them in the second round. That is the theory I'm prepared to give you, Daniel. You know this thing, I try to learn it. That's
Right.
how I answer your question. And if you ask me who will win, I'm not prepared to tell you who will win. When
Right.
that time comes, I will tell you.
And I myself, I'm so fearful of the choices that we have,
Yeah.
and is very is very painful for me to watch, because I personally don't agree, or I'm not willing to go along with the people we see as our top two, top three. I just believe this is where the country is now, and just like for those of us who read Things Fall Apart in 10th grade, when everything was falling apart the way Okongo had was. Sometimes when I look at Liberia and see where things are going and see the people, and sometimes I'm not even worried about those that are dead now. I see those that are next in line that very possibly could be president, vice president, and be ruling government again. And that's the one that sometimes keeps me up at night and makes me a little bit hopeless. I must admit that in time of even crisis, like Zimbabwe, even during Robert Mugabe, when their money was worthless, they were going to school. That's why their literacy rate is so high. Cuba, with all the things that were going on, when you are in trouble, where you look, the kind of preparation you make. But at a time when our country is down, it seems to me that we are looking in the wrong places. We are rewarding, bad behavior, mediocre
Loud
behavior,
mouths,
loud mouths,
empty brains,
the one that I when I call loquacious
people,
buffoon, and you love it.
precious buffoons, people who insult their brothers and sisters, our sisters and
And there
mothers.
is no appetite for what is good.
What is good?
Just like in the days when they say, in those days, people were going after, their own ways.
Yes.
And that is painful for me to watch. And yes, the Wia, the Bwaka, and all the people on the scene, they may be gone, but what's next? Who are the people that will be in the position to run campaign and even win? You will talk about the Koji, the Snows, the Mamba Molus, and these noise makers,
Yeah.
people that are not prepared. And so it is very difficult for me to even make prediction because it hurts my heart.
Mr. Jha, all of your description you provide were the same description we argue at the time of President Weah ascending to office when we campaign.
And let me mention that Sam Waller say, because then how are you going to interview the top candidates neutrally based on the comment just made? Not happy about the top. Yes, I'm not happy. I'm not happy if that takes away, and I'll try to be very respectful in interviews, but if I'm not happy with where my country is going as a citizen, as someone who has suffered a lot to see where my country should go, I think I should say it, even if I will lose everything. Go ahead, Mr. Collison.
Yeah, and so we spoke this same kind of we made the same political argument, and we saw the kind of a protest vote the Liberian people gave us to have elected Mr. Weah into office. So we have to tread the land very carefully now because these people are still around.
Yeah, I
We
agree.
have to tread the land very carefully because these people they need help. They need help. And the better we are able to accept them for who they are and tell them for there's an alternative for a better life, we will continue having a divide, a great vastness in terms of our own community. The population of illiteracy will continue to increase because a lot of people are having children. They drop out of school or never even been to school. They are in the majority. We can treat them or describe them in a way that they will feel rejected. Forgiveness and hope. Yeah, you did not make it for other reasons or factors. But you have children. We can give an opportunity so you can provide for your children, so that gap can be reduced. That's what we should be fighting right now, because it's really, really a problem in Liberia. Look how many young children go into drugs. Nothing is done about it. Civil servants asking for salary to be paid, how to get it paid on time, or using political conditions before they get paid. Come to the rally, then they pay them 1 month, or go to the place. So a lot of things are happening. We as professionals, we as intelligentials who are privileged to be in Liberia or out of Liberia, we must identify the opportunity that means how we can create a bridge to help these people cross, not for themselves anymore, but at least for the generation yet unknown. So we all owe this to our country, Liberia. We can identify it all. If Cummings win today, trust me, we must provide Cummings the support. If Barker wins, we must provide Barker the support. Chairman wins, we must provide him the support. Because these people have the requisite experience by function, by work, about time over period to do something better. We give Mr. We are the office of the presidency when he had never worked before in his life, other than playing soccer. We tested, we put him in such a huge political laboratory. Look how desperately he has failed. Created a new population of mindset of young people who don't even know what they're voting for or what decisions they make. But we got to bring them back in to tell them that there's hope. So let us not go to the second round and begin to say, well, Barker, there was bad blood. Cummings, there was bad blood. Tier 1, there was bad blood. Let us go into the second round that we must resuscitate Liberia of all of the issues that is killing the country right now. And only us who have the will, have the mind, and the intellectuality, we can make that happen.
So, thank you, Mr. Collison. At this time, gentlemen, I want to thank you tonight. We want to do this under 2 hours. Let us draw down the curtains now and close the broadcast with your closing comments. Jimmy, I'll let you go first.
Okay. I honestly believe that the disintegration of the CPP gifted President Weah with 6 more years. 6 more years, the CDC will have a clear road to victory because they allowed the CPP to disintegrate. It's like you put together a good team, then you start taking some of the best players off the team, then you expect to go and win a championship. So we were going to see another 6 years of the CDC. And contrary to what Mr. Collison said, I say, well, let's get behind Mr. Weah so he does good for the country, because he would be the next president for the next 6 years.
But Jimmy, you're always calling somebody President Kuhn. So where is that President Kuhn?
Okay.
You got that?
A vote. I still maintain that a vote for the UP party is a vote for President Kuhn. Now, President Kuhn is a young man, a very enterprising young man.
You mean Vice President waiting for?
You just said President Weah is going to win re-election. So how is he ever going to be President Kuhn now?
The only way he will win if the CDC make it. That's the only way he will become.
But why you call Jamal Kuhn president when he has not even been elected vice president yet?
This is just a trial for him. When they didn't make it, President Kuhn will come back later on.
So you want to do which they put that Barker going to pass? Come on, man, brother. It's more.
I'm talking about if they don't make it this round, to the second round. I'm not talking about his passing. His health is a concern. It is a concern, not because he would pass, but because will he be able to do the job? Collison, let's be honest. The work that is required for Liberia is humongous. It is detailed. It requires unrelenting effort and organization. And it's taxing. VP Barker is our senior brother. And already, in my retirement, I just retired the other day, I know how it is to just work 8 hours a day but then when you got the whole nation problem on your head, on your heart.
Yeah.
That is an extreme question. The people
You
compare.
know, you are closer. So
You are
Yeah.
closing. We'll
Okay.
pick up another day.
Okay.
Don't start new topic. We are closing.
Well, me,
Go
Dennis.
ahead, Jimmy, and your thoughts.
So my thought is, well, let's rally around CDC because they're going to get it for another 6 years. Let's rally around President. We have to do the right thing. Offer him our expertise so that he will move the nation to where it needs to be, and increase the ability of our youth to become productive in
You
our
see,
private sector.
the time the robber is on top of the mountain, you raise the hand, you didn't touch heaven. Now you're in the valley at the time will reach there. I mean, if President we didn't do it in the first 6 years where re-election was at stake, will he do it in the second round? Will people rally? Will he invite people to rally around him to do anything, or he will be emboldened because he keep bragging about his accomplishments?
Yeah.
So if you elect him, you will be emboldened. Say, "Well, I did so well. That's why that's why I was re-elected." So
That's
isn't
it.
this?
You mean this man is LRB best preso that they are telling
I,
us
I,
the
I'm
development
looking.
that we've seen
I'm
in
looking.
less
I'm
than
looking at
5
the
years.
writing on the wall. I'm looking at the
Less than 5
teams.
years, the development that we have seen, we have never seen that if you put all the rest of the administration combined. I mean, this, but you compare that with the living standard of our people. I mean,
Let's wrap it on now. We keep that for another debate.
this is how we close.
Well,
This is how we
well,
close. Dennis.
Let Ansony close, and then you come, Mr. Collison.
okay.
This is how we'll close. The discussion for today boils on our search for leadership. The country has come a long way, and we need to give our people a befitting life. The standard of living is poor, and it's all because the leadership that we had not been up to the task. Football is one thing most young Liberians can relate to. So I will close with a football analogy on leadership. There's a football team called Manchester City, based in England. It was founded 1880. Dennis. That football team have never won the European Champion League until a seasoned coach with the history of winning the Champion League took over that team. That coach name is Pep Guardiola. He won it with Barcelona. He went to Manchester City and he became the coach of that team. For the first time in Manchester City's history, they won the Champion League because they got a leader with the track record of winning the Champion League. This is synonymous to Liberia. We know what we want. We know what we need. We are looking for the leader who will give it to us. But we are looking for people who don't have the track record of giving those things to us. These are the people we are running behind. What is President Weah's history of providing leadership in Liberia, for which we went for him? What has Bwaka provided? What kind of leadership has he provided in a transformative action at any institution in Liberia? What is the understanding of Liberia? Tiawan Gonglo, who do we know him to be? What is his track record? Cummings, what is his track record? Moneyback, Sarah Beslo Yanti. We have people at least. Let's look at their record. What have they done in their areas of work when it comes to leadership? So Manchester made the right decision to have hired Pep Guardiola because they wanted to win the Champions League, and they won the Champions League. If we want roads, if we want schools, if we want all the things that we need in our country, the leaders that are running, let's look at their records. That's what Manchester City did. And today they are a proud team that the title European Champion League. Maybe Liberia will do that. I don't see that. Thank you, Dennis.
Mr. Collison.
Let me pick up from something very important that that Ansony just mentioned. And I want you, Ansony, the rest of the other streaming guests, including the host, and all those in streaming land watching this program today, I will direct you to go to joeburkhardt.com. Before you sit and say, well, what has Burkhardt done in his professional life, the achievement he has made in his professional life, in different capacities in government that he served, go to joeburkhardt.com and an entire detailed account of who this person is are available for you to read and know what he has done. If you question any one of those issues he listed there as a fake resume, and you can counter that, then you come back on this show to make that claim that he has not done anything. But go to joeburkhardt.com and you will see the output of this man. The United Party under the leadership of Joe Burkhardt will bring a rejuvenation to our country, Liberia. There will be functionality in the structure, the physical system of our country, in the social system of our country. Children will return to school instead of giving up hope and being in the street and living on drugs. We'll bring back accountability. We will audit every institution of government over the last 6 years, and even beyond, to ensure that we can bury corruption at last. We will borrow from every other person, as I said on the other show before. A Councillor Tiawan Gongo lost the election. He has a good blueprint as to how you can fight corruption. I would encourage Mr. Burkhardt, the appointee as Justice Minister or Chairman of the Anti-Corruption Commission, to do his job. If Mr. Cummings lost his election and you know how to bring jobs for young people in the community, I would encourage President Burkhardt to use his expertise. Despite it all, Liberia should come first. Under the Joe Burkhardt administration, Liberia or Liberians will come first.
And then, the man using our platform to run campaign, I think we got to send him a bill.
Send me the bill.
We have to send him a bill.
I was referred to the Foreign Committee. You know, CDC was given the opportunity to manage government when they have no expertise and experience. You see how definitely they have failed.
Dennis?
All of them put their hand in the cookie jar.
So the same promises we've been hearing.
So exactly. So come and tell us that we should give them, they will win the second round. Mm-hmm. Well, that's democracy. We'll respect the voice of the Liberian people. But let them sit down today and ask themselves, if their lives were better in the last 6 years, I'll tell them, go back and re-elect CDC. But for right now, there must be an alternative to political power in Liberia. And that best alternative right now is Joseph Newman Burkhardt with the ticket of Jamaica on his ticket. So I submit.
Thank you very much, Mr. Collison. If you we've been doing this thing this August, focus on Liberia. We started in August 2017. So we're getting there, 6 years old, and we are trying our best to plant our roots deeply into the country. All right. So if you want to support that effort, please join us. Cash App and Zelle information is on the screen. We will really appreciate. As one brother when in high school, he said, "Your nickels and dimes are indispensable." So these nickels and dimes, we need them so as to continue to do what we're doing. We want to shift.
But before you get to it, Mr. Jar, come Labor Day, we will be engaging your network very soon or later. Come Labor Day, we'll have the audience of the Standard Bearer, his vice Standard Bearer, and the campaign manager on all live streaming in the United States around the world. We have identified. And your streaming program is one of the programs listed. So please look forward to someone reaching out to you very shortly, and you will have the privilege to have that. And so I know it won't be free, but they will work on the details for you. But come
Should we,
Labor Day, they're
should
going
we take that? Should we take that to the bank?
Thank you.
You take that to the bank. Yeah, take that to the bank.
That check will not bounce.
It will not bounce. Take that to the bank. That check will not bounce.
Thank you.
Yeah, your streaming is one of the platform that was highlighted mainly to carry that Labor Day presentation from Joseph Human Burger. So someone will contact you very shortly. Look forward to that.
Thank you. So that's our Cash App and Zelle information. Please donate to us. This is by far the very diverse platform. We pride ourselves in being the one that is very fair, balanced, informative, educative, and above all, respectful of the views of others. So please donate to us. In closing, I will also join all of you to say first round victory for any, in my view, for any of the political parties is very unlikely. But definitely there will be a second round. And our people are being very consistent. It's like we know the two parties are going to go to the second round, maybe even before the campaign starts, and being very consistent with that. So for the past election since 2005, it's been CDC and Unity Party. This time, Unity Party is out and CDC is in the driver's seat, is in power. So it appears that things are not going to be that different. But we are hoping for that dark horse. We want things to shift in Liberia a little bit. For me, I believe that because it gives us hope that I too can come from behind and sell a platform to people that win. Because sometimes it appears to me that people just close their ears on everything else and say, this is the person I want. If you don't like it, go hold the transformer. And I don't care who the person is. I don't care what he or she says. This is the person I want. I have not really seen where people are moving towards or away from somebody based on what they say, based on what they do, based on anything. I mean, there was an argument where President Mr. Boakai, he misspoke and said Liberia 196 years old. And his surrogates were supporting that. They defended because it came from their political leader's mouth. So even if the person is wrong, you just stick with them no matter what. I'm looking forward to a day where people will have that same king, the guy who was running, because he yelled, so people pull away from him. In Liberia, it's like as long as people are for you, no matter what you do from the start to the end, they're still there. Nobody moves. So I'm looking forward to that day that people will move based on the issues people are presenting or the politicians are presenting, based on if they fail or if they do something very bad, if they have stolen money in the process, or if something leaked about them that is so disgusting. People should learn to move away from such people. And I'm looking forward to that. But gentlemen, I want to appreciate your time tonight. I want to thank our viewers. Always focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. So Sam will stay asking me questions, but we will close, Sam. So we
have a good night, gentlemen.
We broadcast without playing the song that says we are all Liberians. Whether you support Boakai, Gonglo, Sarah, Joe,
Coming,
whoever,
anybody.
We are all Liberians, and that's what matters. Whoever you're voting for, when you get in that voting booth, whoever you're voting for, remember we are all Liberians, and let's do whatever it takes to make Liberia that glorious land of liberty. Have a good night, and God bless you.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our home. Liberia people. Liberia, all we want. Liberia, oh. Liberia, all we want. Liberia, Liberia.